So now we're going to launch into the monthly reports, and hopefully this we're going to try and keep this moving along. You know, I think it's a good thing that the squadron reports are shorter now than they used to be. So this goes a little bit can go a little bit faster. But so let's launch into the August monthly reports for Squadron 40 for Star Citizen and Squadron 42.
Love that image. Hate that
Yeah,
it's nasty, but love the image.
it's really well done. I think this is probably either I I I I wonder if this is one of the asteroid facilities or asteroid bases.
Yeah, I think so. We've also seen those stairs before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They were the asset they were using to show off the gravity being able to be turned off.
Yep.
All right, so another header we got. Welcome to the August PU monthly report with the recent Alpha 3.2 Cargo Empires. Most development teams spent the month both finalizing patch task and progressing with exciting new features coming further down the road. All roads. No. Read on for detail for all the details. Gosh dang. And then the squadron side for the header is welcome to August Squadron 42 development report. Enclosed, you will find detailed on the latest progress made across the campaign, including mocap updates, refined behaviors, and additional narrative content. Thank you for your continued support of Squadron 42. Sincerely, CIG Communications. And you have AI features, and it actually worked out pretty well. I have core gameplay, so I read the long one, but I also have graphic stuff, which is the engine stuff. Also
Oh,
got online technology. I
speaking
believe
of
you also
graphics
got
and engine stuff, I haven't
you
had a
get Switch
chance to
team and community.
um, to follow up on them, but what's the one of the devs who works on Vulcan has been doing lots of replies on Spectrum, and so I have to
Yes,
go back and read those.
Allie, was it
Yeah,
Brown?
Allie Brown. Yep.
Got it.
I think it
Okay.
was Allie Brown and Ben Perry were both talking, or maybe it
Yes,
was one of
this
the
they
other.
were.
Um, so I read a couple of them. Uh, I had been
Basically,
hoping
4.0
that
should be like the lockdown on Vulcan.
yeah, lockdown on Vulcan. We're a ways out for ray tracing global illumination because they are still finalizing that for Squadron, and then they'll push it to the PU.
Not
Um,
only are they still finalizing it, but there are some like big things it still doesn't know to look at, like the ground of planets.
yeah,
It doesn't take into account the ground. Like the ray tracing system doesn't see the ground yet.
yeah. The rays just go on forever through the planet's surface.
Do not
Um,
reflect.
yep. So, AI features for Star Citizen, August 2024. Last month, AI features polished various reactions, including the first reactions when AIs respond to audio or visual events. While these behaviors had a solid base, various combat styles, weapons, and scenarios didn't play consistently, such as when escalating from a low reaction to a high reaction. To improve this, the team built a new AI test level called a test cell. This is a building block setup with different character types, weapons, cover, usables, etc., that allows the team to pick and mix different setups to produce a consistent version of test scenarios. A particular combination can be exported as one cell and imported into a single level where multiple test scenarios can be played simultaneously, allowing the team to quickly identify mistakes, fix them, and retest. The test cell level is also being used for cover hit reactions, which have different animation setups per cover type, combat style, and weapon type. Going forward, the test cell will be expanded to provide more consistency across a wide range of areas.
Okay, and I didn't check, so the second half of the squadron is also copied over. So that's in the second half of the squadron side as well.
This part.
There is
Okay.
is you gotta read it.
What?
You gotta read it.
Oh, yep. Sorry, that's me. I was thinking it was switching over to you.
No, you still got
Um,
the squadron side.
yep. Sorry. So AI features on the Squadron 42 side. Throughout August, AI features focused on polishing existing functionality to improve level flow. For example, polishing. During buddy sections where players are aided by AI characters, the team increased and improved the control mechanisms available to the designers so that they can increase situational awareness. This means that AI characters no longer automatically crouch and draw a weapon when enemies are nearby. This is now a behavior that's controllable by a designer who can determine the best place for this to occur.
Hmm.
A new follow along path task was added alongside the lead along path task, allowing the designer to guide AI while simultaneously keeping up with the player. They're also improving tech to control when the buddy joins in combat to provide more level specific situational awareness.
I think somebody in CAG has heard somebody outside of CAG. What that last little bit means is AI moving at the correct speed, whether they're leading you or following you.
Mm-hmm.
Which means no more NPCs walking 1% faster or slower than the player. Not quite run, but not quite walk either. Very good. Very,
Okay.
very, very good.
Yeah. A common gripe for different games.
Oh, buddies.
Pardon me. Sorry. Back to you for AI tech on the PU side.
Yes. So, Star Citizen AI tech continued to improve how NPCs transition between servers, aka server meshing, including serializing movement requests on the navigation paths. They also updated navigation generation elements, including one related to computing navigation islands and used when exporting processes into object containers. Progress was also made on converting the Apollo Tools UI style, and new features continue development too, which the team will share more about in the future. And everyone knows in the future currently means sissing.
Yeah. Not
And
subtle.
then yeah, I know, right? And then on the squadron side, wait for you to switch over. Okay.
I did.
Remember I'm on the delay, so I don't know when you switch over.
Yep.
Alongside the small improvements and bug fixes, AI tech worked on editor functionality to allow designers to schedule game tags and to assign action areas directly to NPCs. Secondly, they worked on the subscription tasks flow graph node to enable or disable navigation cost areas and modify their cost. Dude walk through fire because he don't care. That's what I'm hearing.
Yep.
So, at what point
Pardon me. Sorry.
do navigation areas cross a? I mean, I know it's good. Like it'll be more needed for like the dynamic server meshing, but currently, where can an NPC transition a server?
Well, I mean, right now they can't.
Well, I know that's what they're working on, but like, where would they need to?
Um.
Even if we did per each planet and moon
Yeah.
a new server, all the like engagements like around Yella, they stay around Yella, and they don't go to the ground. Is there some other thing that we don't know about that has travel? Well, I mean,
Well,
Star Sim.
the and even Star Sim, like, because that isn't happening on the DGS.
Mm-hmm.
Once they stop being
Yeah,
subsumption.
the ephemeralness, so their travel is ephemeral. So
Yeah.
I like it. It's a nice tool to have, but like, where are they using? What? When do they come to the conclusion they need NPC? Well, NPC crew will need eventually. That's nowhere near,
Yeah.
but interesting, very interesting. All right. Back to you for the AI Social Strike Team. This is a specific squadron-related team.
Yeah, and remember the Squadron 42 people have been divided up into strike teams. There's social and
3 content.
right. Yeah, there's three different teams. I forget. It's one social,
Oh,
one's flight.
There's 3
and
content. And then there's the social team.
uh
Per the.
oh, okay. Right, wait.
They may have changed because last time you're right. We did hear on the previous progress tracker. You can check the ZR
Social
card
strike
probably.
team, and then there's 3 chapter strike teams, even though
Chapter,
it's
not
0,
content.
1, and 2. Why they didn't go 1, 2, and 3, I don't know. Europeans.
Yeah. Previously, they did have a flight, an FPS, a social, all strike teams. So I don't know if it's simplified for us cavemen out here, or that's just a new kind of faster, agile workflow.
I
We
think
don't know.
that this is indicative of they are polishing chapters. They're not that they are getting to content complete by polishing chapters because they are now feature complete.
Yeah. So like, even if we look back at the walking NPCs, that is such a very specific thing, and it doesn't just apply to one scenario. So it's really specific things they're polishing right now.
Yeah.
So far. And they're working on tools. The reason they're still working on tools for Squadron, like subsumption tasks, workflow, and Apollo and things, is because they still have a second, third game to Squadron. They still need to make sure that they can reproduce at a pretty good clip after Squadron's out the door.
Yeah. Okay, so AI Social Strike Team. The AI Social Strike Team spent part of August refining idle animations for desk workers. This work adds greater variety to the NPCs seated at consoles, significantly reducing noticeable repetition when multiple characters are positioned next to each other. Yeah, that would look really awkward if they're like all in sync or something. They then expanded the advanced animation set used for repairing and inspecting the Gladius and Hornet. Looking forward to seeing that. That'll be cool to watch. These more advanced and realistic animations move away from basic motions, adding depth and believability to the repair and inspection activities. Continuing from last month, the devs made significant progress refining various interactions throughout the game. As part of this, numerous non-essential interactions were removed to prevent confusion about what can and should be interacted with. This clear delineation ensures that when something is interactable, it serves a meaningful gameplay purpose. This step is crucial to maintaining intuitive game mechanics and enhancing the overall player experience. Work was also done to improve the cargo handling AI. For example, the utility behavior for AI involved in cargo handling was updated to allow multiple AI characters not using trolleys to move cargo from the same pickup location to the same drop-off area. Previously, only one AI character could perform this action at a time. That would be inefficient. Previously, only one AI character, resulting in an illogical sequence of events. With this new update, cargo movement now appears more realistic and dynamic, adding a layer of authenticity to the environment. It would be so cool to see that moved into the PU. Like, this is now your auto loading.
I feel like the in parentheses not using trolleys is signaling.
Yeah,
Maybe using an atlas.
could be. Yep. Especially because the mechs were built for Squadron first. Question is, does Squadron use the Atlas or does it only use the Titan?
I
But
still say
using the Atlas,
it was
using an
Squadron.
Atlas for cargo loading, for especially like within the Javelin or a Bengal, like
Or in Shubin.
yeah. Following an art pass on cargo in the Shubin location, the Cav vehicle's AI was What?
What?
What is a
Sorry, what?
cav vehicle? The cav vehicle's AI was repathed. It was repathed. This update ensures that the vehicle's movements align perfectly with the new cargo layout. Finally, for social AI, numerous smaller bug fixes and improvements were made across the campaign. Danger Hobo, no, I haven't talked about Space Marine 2 yet. I did get a chance. So that was the coin toss. If the tech preview, if the tech preview happened, I was going to play the tech preview on Thursday. But because it didn't happen, I played Space Marine 2 for a couple hours. And I mean, I didn't get super far, but I did have a lot of fun. I am not good at games where there are combos you have to memorize and execute. I'm more of just a button smasher and hope for the best. So I really, especially because like the tutorial goes kind of quick and the combo isn't up on the screen for long enough for me to be able to remember it, and there's so many of them. And my brain just doesn't work like that. So whereas I've been playing a lot of Star Wars Outlaws, and I'm getting really good at sneaking around and using my as morphologists called it, my kleptocat Nix,
Nice.
to do stuff. Yeah, you can chain together between you sneaking around and using Nix. You can chain together things in order to move through the environment undetected and take out enemies or get the things that you want so quickly once you get a hang of it, and so efficiently. It looks
Well,
really cool.
we are gonna get pets in Star Citizen eventually.
Yeah, and I want a company to make a plushy version of Nyx from Star Wars Outlaws because my kid was
Oh, I
watching me
can't
play.
imagine that's not there yet.
Yeah, my kid was watching me play it, and he thought that
It's
it
the
was
first
the
thing that
best thing
shows up.
ever. Yeah. And so I'm like, well, I have to get him one because he has a Pico, he has a Finley the Stormwall, and I need to get him a Nyx, a Kleptocat. Um, but yeah.
Where's Discord? There's Discord.
Oh,
There you go.
is it already a thing?
It's already a thing, bud. Told
Oh,
you.
it's already a thing. Well, here
No
we
way
go.
they were going to like pass up that. Star Wars Disney is merchandising king.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I
No freaking
will
way they're
order
gonna
that
pass that up.
tomorrow. My
So I looked up Cav. Cav vehicle is redundant. Because Cav, at least the predominant definition that I'm seeing, is connected and autonomous vehicle.
autonomous.
Autonomousness.
Huh. Interesting.
Connected and automated vehicle. Yep. Is predominantly what I'm seeing.
Okay. I'm not sure what to make of that. An autonomous cargo,
We have
or
them in Orison.
are you talking about the Atlas um, ferry thing?
No, the so you know the old not old the trolleys we were supposed to get, the hover carts for
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
there's an autonomous one in Orison that moves around next to the Kovlex Center. That is a
Huh.
cav, according
I'll
to the
have to go
definition.
look at it.
So it just kind of moves around the track, and yes, you can get hit by it. And yes, it doesn't like if you stand on it.
My shins. All right. Back to you for AI content on the Star Citizen side.
AI content Star Citizen. In August, the social AI designers joined the narrative team for a larger group focused on improving the Star Citizen experience. Too many things with star in the name. Freaking
Mm-hmm.
crap. As part of this, they began meeting with design and creative directors to walk through various locations, looking for opportunities to clean up existing behaviors and add new ones. While many of the behaviors will be based on work done for Squadron 42, the extensive nature of the PU will require bespoke additions. Bespoke additions. AI content also in the is also in the process of reviewing locations throughout Pyro, ensuring the environment and behavior setups work correctly together and instill a sense of the intended narrative. The team also met with the designers of an upcoming mission to provide support for some of the locations that will be visited by players, um, including applying believable behaviors to NPCs. Aside from outlining behavior improvements and the needs of Star Citizen 1.0, narrative design kicked off several initiatives to determine the required tech and the use cases for future social spaces. This will ultimately lead to a vertical slice showing a gold standard social space with the level of interaction the game will aim for. I am super excited that they're doing that. So we've always been fed for as long as this project has been up. This Star Wars level of kind of a landing zone where you land your ship and there's the dock workers that are there like ready to pester you if you want your ship fixed up or fueled up or whatever, and they're milling about the landing pad or landing hangar or whatever. And then you go into the lobby and there's these, there's pilots in the lobby and there's the people waiting to get on their car, transport ship, and you go out into landing zone and all these NPCs are like saying these different lines of these background voices, and you go out and you see someone getting shaken down, somebody getting shook down, and you have just little stories, like little just throwaway stories just in the behaviors of them. We've always been sold that kind of idea for landing zones or social spaces, basically spaces where.
If you want to know what he's talking about, go play Star Wars Outlaws. That is one thing.
And I
that
haven't played it.
massive-
I've just that's a Star Wars thing. That is how
Yeah.
all the Star Wars. Go watch the movies. It's how it works in the shows. I mean, Andor's a lot like that too.
Really crushed that. They absolutely nailed it.
And so Star Citizen wants to take that, not only apply that kind of thing, but also make it dynamic. They were talking about this a couple months ago, for the I forget what they called it. But basically a speech system that can react to the environment, and if they're like IEs going on, you can have them talking about, oh, did you see the new ship at IE from X developer? Or if like Siege Orison going on, some Orison people, I'm really concerned with like Ninetales coming in, and what does that mean for like jobs and things? Like, lines that can react to the stuff going on in the world. And so that gold standard, we will watch your career with
Great interest.
Great. Yes, I want to see this. I want to see this as soon as possible. Unfortunately, this is not a soon thing. Obviously, Squadron first. They're still outlining what they need for Star Citizen 1.0, and it won't be till after they get the tech they need that they'll be designing this gold standard vertical slice. And who wants to vote or who wants to bet it's gonna be in freaking ArtCorp?
Yeah.
It's always
Let's see.
So
So
they're stealing gerbs. No, they're blowing up your gerbs. Slightly different.
back to me for the AI game intelligence development team. Boy, that's a mouthful. In August,
what
the
that just
game.
means. Sorry. What that just means is AI is used as a term for both AI art generation, kind of AI LLMs, and also NPCs in general. The reason they call it AI game development division is the AI decision making, not quite LLM, not quite just an NPC, but it's the code that runs the decision making of the NPCs in the game. Kind of differentiate it between all the other terms for AI.
In August, the game intelligence development team concentrated on delivering a clean and stable Apollo StarScript UX update. This involved adding support for higher icon resolution so they stay sharp when zoomed in, and straightening lines for a clearer read. TPS query, TPS reports. Drag and drop was improved too. Now, when hovering, ports with a bigger selection range are highlighted. The devs corrected the color and size of imported notes, added arrowheads to links leading to closed groups, and enlarging the hovering area and highlights on links and ports. Drop points were also added to links to identify the desired select line. So they worked on the Apollo subsumption or Ball Star Script UI. So the tool that they use for
That
building
image
AI
is
and
that.
AI behaviors. Yep.
Yeah. All nice and shiny.
That's only on the PU side. So back to you for animation on
It,
Star
it
Citizen.
was copied on the other
Mhm.
side. I just am bad at doing my job, apparently. Animation Star Citizen. August saw the official animation team developing content to flesh out. I almost saw that said fish. Flesh out more of the game world characters. Interesting. Specifically characters. It didn't say creatures. When they're working on creatures, it specifically says creatures. Gameplay animation continued to work on selection of creatures previously seen in teaser videos alongside improvements or improving the creatures already in the PU. They also progressed with an unannounced addition that the team's looking forward to seeing in game. Weren't we getting a no? Who was it that talked about? Um, what are the official things talked about? The things coming soon. That might be just down
Kazi
here
Grazer.
somewhere.
So that's the thing is they
Well, yeah,
say
we're getting the categories. That's on the map, but somewhere I think it's actually in here somewhere. Talked about features of the things we're getting, and they said big furry thing,
yeah the
aka Border Stalker.
yep. But they say to work on a selection of creatures previously seen in teaser videos,
Where?
alongside improving the creatures already in the PU. So the teaser video ones are not the Marak and the Copion. They're things we have seen before. So
Yeah.
to me, that means that they are working on the the floating trash bags, the what is it, the Oni
Oni
crab,
crabs.
the Oni
Border
crabs.
Stalker, Oni crab, Boreal, not yeah, Border
I
Stalker,
mean,
Oni
we
crab,
haven't
Kazi
gotten
Grazer,
the Boreal Stalker in a
and Whip crab.
teaser video, but we have gotten the fact that they said a selection of creatures previously seen in teaser videos. It's things we've seen in video before.
I mean, we've seen the Boreal Stalker in ISC as teasers of upcoming animals.
I guess that could potentially work. Yeah. Um,
Some of Paul's weasel words.
yeah. Yeah. That could include the well, they showed we don't have the Stormwall in game yet, but
Oh yeah, Stormwall. That's true. We
the
still have
engine.
Stormwall to go.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
the
in the
engine
engine
video.
video.
Which
Along
means
with the
they
Gazi
have
Grazer.
animations already submitted for them, so
Mm-hmm.
couldn't be too
Um,
far away.
but the unannounced edition, to me, that's something that we don't know about at all.
Yeah, I
Not just
imagine
something that isn't on the.
unannounced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine unannounced in this case is a lot like how they do ships. If they've said the name, they would put the name in. If they
Yep.
haven't said the name, it's an unannounced. So
The
we know
team is
Stormwall, we know
looking
Oni
forward
Crab,
to
we know Whip
seeing in
Crab.
game. Hmm.
Yep. What are they cooking up to kill us?
Yeah.
And is it freaking spiders?
Uh,
Do you know how much less space exploration I'm gonna be doing when they freaking add spiders to the game? Just like CIG. My one request, if you must add spiders, which you already said you're going to, make it the same update you give me a flamethrower. That is all I ask. Oh, could you imagine somebody capturing a giant spider and putting it in somebody's house?
Oh dear God.
Oh, my arachnophobia is already going off. All right, on the squadron side. God dang. Ah, man. I lit up my nerves. Now they're not okay. Oh, God. Sorry. Even thinking of spiders makes my arachnophobia jump. My nerves get not okay. The gameplay animation team worked on zero gravity movement on surfaces, weapon first select and overheats, improved pickups, scene-specific player interactions, and numerous background animations for life around a key location. Significant progress was also made on a number of human enemy types. On the mocap side, the team supported gameplay and story needs with capture shoots and solved data, which is basically processed mocap. They also supported the mocap team, so they can be more efficient and knowledgeable in future shoots. The gameplay team, the gameplay and gameplay animation teams, then joined force to use their experience in retargeting to get faster traction on some upcoming asset sets. The team are currently working on the final facial animation solved for Squadron 42 before pivoting to fleshing out background AI and improving high-profile story scenes. This team is currently final facial animations. Basically, that is probably the last part of cinematics that they're going to work on, and then it's all playable scenes. Crabs are freaking laser crabs.
Laser
Spiders in
crabs.
Skyrim ruined me. Oh man. I was walking through Walmart, and of course they had the Halloween stuff up, and they had spider plushy things that just were not okay to walk next to. Like, I saw them from like good 10 feet out. I had to walk on the other side of the aisle. It was not okay. Like, all I saw was like a really fuzzy leg of a spider. Just like, nope, absolutely not. And that's actually where I had to stop watching the SCL. I think it was what was it before SCL? Whatever it was before SCL. Where they were doing the game dev where they were drawing the spider creature. I'm like, okay, the body, okay, I can see that. The head, okay. The second they did the first like paint swipe for the leg, I'm like, nope, I'm out. I can't. Not a thing. Not a thing. So apparently something in the shape of the leg is just hits my irrational fear just like in the gut. And like I hate that I know it's an irrational fear. It just does not make any sense. God's greatest architects are spiders, just like okay. I'm gonna go and get a drink while I mean, it's gonna be a 3-second thing, but character art, go.
Okay. Character art continued working on utility and specialist armors. Looking forward to seeing those. Give me a medic set. While character concept art supported IAE and progressed with their ongoing exploration of fauna. I do hope that they will give us an update of fauna that they're working on to include lore, like a combination ISC would be really cool, where they have the character art and they show maybe some block out animations, but then they also talk about like the lore that the narrative team are working on for the character or for the fauna being animals. And he's not back yet, so ship art is really well. I'll let him come back and do that because I'm doing community. Macton, let me know when they make the beam crab. Crabs with laser beams on their heads. Yeah, the infamous crotch spider. Let's see. Well, he's not back yet. Guess I'm gonna do ship art then. Art ships. Last month, Ship Art moved several unannounced vehicles toward their gray box reviews. Several. To me, if they're moving several, I think they're probably moving multiple variants of the same ship. But that's just me. Oh, he's back.
I'm back. Oh yeah.
Ship art for you.
Ship art. Ship art Star Citizen. It's another short one. I should just wait until we're on community. Gosh dang. Sorry. Let's see. Last month, Ship Art moved several unannounced ships towards their gray box review, which is the end of gray box, while others approached their LOD 0 and final content reviews, which LOD 0 is their highest LOD, and then they have to make the LODs to make them down, and then final content is right before flight ready, I believe.
Yep.
Work on the RSI Polaris also continued, with the ship's exterior approaching completion. So no phase there. That's just being done.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, it was pretty far along at Invictus Launch Week, but you could tell that it was kind of flat.
yeah, yep. It also had like the panel lines with that weird like dark gray highlighted on all of them. I hope it looks a lot
The way
more
it was sort of
cohesive.
skinned, it was very just sort of bland.
Yeah, I
And
hope
you could tell.
like up close to it, it looks really good. That the style they had it in. So I hope when you get like that third person view kind of distance from it, it looks a bit more flatter, more simple, because it looks really noisy in the version they had at
Yeah.
Invictus.
Well, and the material was very uniform across the ship, which is not what they do.
Yeah, it looks like a plastic shell and like a plastic molded ship.
There's a lot of unannounced vehicles being worked on. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
we know what two of them were. You know, one being the Peregrine and the other being the Atlas. But you know, there's still a good amount of stuff that is unknown. Community. So, in support of Alpha 324, the community team made improvements and updates to the new player and welcome back pilot guides. They also provided an update to the cargo guide alongside a Q&A for the recently released Aegis Saber Peregrine. The team also focused heavily on compiling and sharing player feedback internally. That's one thing that they've talked about that I've seen Jake talk about at length multiple times. Is a lot of what they do is they go through Spectrum and they find player threads and direct devs to those threads and either to just receive the feedback or to respond to it. That way, the community manager isn't having to respond, doing the whole telephone system to feedback. The team's standout event last month was Ship Showdown 2954, with players from across the community submitting creative entries to determine which ships made it to the top. Phase 1 saw citizens submitting original creations of their favorite vehicles to the community hub and social media before the top 16 faced off in daily voting battles. After much voting, the Anvil F8C Lightning was crowned Ship Showdown Champion 2954. Yeah, deleted by Knight Rider. The community team also supported the release of a limited number of general admission 2054 tickets before connecting with the community at Gamescom 2024 in Cologne. This stop on the Bar Citizen Tour brought together players for an unforgettable experience, including a treasure hunt, prizes, and 2 Bar Citizen events. Later in August, the team met with more fans in Seattle at PAX West during another Bar Citizen event at Stoop Brewing. Pardon me. Looking ahead, we're excited to meet even more Citizen players in Marina Grande, Portugal, and during TwitchCon US in California, community team. The progress tracker was also updated with the latest production schedule through 2024. It introduces a significant shift in how deliverables are tracked while maintaining transparency throughout the year. Further updates, including 2025, will soon follow. I imagine we're going to get more 2024 updates before CitizenCon, but I think that 2025, we're not going to have to wait until January to see 2025 updates, or at least to see them start rolling out. I think we're going to get a progress tracker update at CitizenCon for 2025, given
Or at
the
least
whole
the update cadence right after CitizenCon.
and 1.0 related stuff. While with CitizenCon 2954 coming in October, the team spent much of August gearing up for the event, including setting up the venue layout, preparing community booths, and more. Back to Naz for core gameplay. This one's long, and so I'm going to go grab myself an ice cream sandwich.
So there is ice cream!
Yes.
You lied! Alright, engaging Nasri's long one. Core gameplay, Star Citizen. Throughout August, the various gameplay featured teams continued to improve the hangar and cargo flows for Alpha 3.24 based on feedback from the BTU. Meanwhile, a lot of behind-the-scenes changes progressed that will improve how various gameplay systems handle environments that span multiple servers. Progress was made on the overheat mechanic, with core gameplay adding support for different atmospheric temperatures. For example, weapons will overheat at different rates based on their environment. So, hot plants it will overheat faster, cold plants will overheat slower. Charge and drain progress 2, and now feature client-side prediction to give immediate feedback to the player when they're charging or draining. Even if there's latency between the client and server, the team or even if there is a latency between the client and server. The team began adding logic to declutter the UI by grouping markers of the same type while implementation of weapon groups and group preset continued. August saw continued progress on jump points, which began with improved debugging tools to better visualize potential exit points for players. Turbulence was also implemented, so shakes the ship now makes it hard to actually stay on course, which will affect the flight experience within the tunnel. The designers are currently tweaking the strength to get the desired impact. Remember, we only have the one jump point in this next up, so whenever they talk about desired impact, it's desired impact of this one. They'll have to tweak it for each individual desired effect. And with transient ones, well, probably transient ones will also be designed and plays. I highly doubt we're ever get, at least not anywhere in the known future, going to get random planet or random systems and randomly generated jump points. Visual effects were added too, including cockpit vibrations based on where in the tunnel the player is located, and obstacles were placed that players will be required to navigate around. Further, failure states for jump point tunnels were determined before the feature was submitted for QA testing. Progress was then made on the resource network, engineering gameplay, and life support. For example, core gameplay implemented a new behavior for critical components, which will replace the existing soft death mechanic. When live, only certain items, like power plants, will trigger explosions or soft death when destroyed.
Yes. I'm so excited for this.
I do hope that means we are going to get 100% soft death chance, and your ship will just be damaged until it is soft death.
Yep.
And hopefully soft death also still means I'm really hoping, like my only hope for the resource network after all we know, because we know most of it. So my only still unknown hope thing is that no ship is beyond repair. That is my biggest hope.
Until it goes kaboom.
No, I want even a kaboomed ship to be able to cart it back as a husk back to the repair place, and to be completely rebuilt.
I don't think that is a reasonable expectation if a ship is blown into multiple pieces and complete kaboom.
Depends on the size of the pieces.
I don't think we're ever going to get that.
I want 100% soft death.
The
engineering screen...
Definitely 100% soft death, because like the way they're describing it, you shouldn't, unless someone specifically is targeting a critical component, you should soft death first, and then
it says they only get soft death if they hit a thing like a power plant, which will replace soft death when live. Only certain items like the power plant will trigger explosion or soft death.
Okay. So, well, yeah, it's one or the other. So certain components can trigger a soft death.
Okay.
Certain ones can trigger an explosion. But like,
so the chances of exploding or soft death are still there.
mm-hmm.
Okay, I see. Okay, that makes sense. So still not 100% soft death. Never mind.
But there's still a chance of not soft death if you go kaboom. But I feel like it would be a lot less, and because say it's only the power plant, or but what I really want to see is a chain of events where, okay, you didn't take out the power plant, but you take out the cooler.
And now the
Yeah, you got to run
power
away.
plant's starting to overheat. Yeah,
If you don't shut off your power plant, which means hey, you have no more power, you're operating off of batteries, so you have to make this choice. Okay, well, how long
and
do I
can
have before we
shutting
go
off the
kabooey?
power plant subvert it going critical and exploding?
Yeah. Yep.
So you can say, "Hey, I'm gonna probably die, but the power plant's going to overload, so I'm dead anyway. Let's take the chance, shut down the power plant, shut down the ship, and let's try it hand to hand.
Yeah.
You want my stuff? Come get it."
Yeah. You want my stuff? Come get it. Or or maybe you don't want to fight it out, and you're like, okay, because you'll still have power, and you can still lock the doors, and you can say, all right, I'm opening the cargo bay door. You can take my cargo and just leave me alone, and then somebody can come because the biggest thing like I want is to allow for rescue. And not only to be able to recover your ship from soft death, but if you don't have the means to repair your ship there, okay, I want somebody to be able to come pick you up and take you back to a station, or what have you. Um, particularly
Pick up
like,
you, tow the ship,
mm-hmm,
bring things to replace things. Excuse me,
yeah,
in the ship.
give you more options. But at least with this and with resource management, because right now like soft death is it happens often enough, but I feel like the time from soft death to then going kablooey is a bit too short in a lot of instances, especially with smaller ships. Um, to
One
where
thing I
like
hope they don't do
if
is they
you
have
have to be really.
position mode.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they don't have component precision mode. Like
Oh,
you
to
can
be
shoot
able
off
to.
the thrusters or the turrets, but can you like just tap 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 aim for power plant?
Yeah.
And,
Well, and
like
with Maelstrom, it should be difficult to hit the power plant with it like the what we saw last year was an oversimplification, especially with Maelstrom coming in. Um,
oh yeah.
you'll have to defeat the armor of Maelstrom to get to the components.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it would be you're more likely to have components go offline because you've taken damage that impacts the ability for resources to move around between components than to actually lose components. But that's
Yep.
a further iteration.
Yep. Moving on, the engineering screen was polished, while a new room selection UI was added for life support. That's very good. The team also gave design the ability to control the total power output of multiple active powered plants. This way, more power plants don't necessarily result in linear increase power production. Significant time was dedicated to fixing stability issues and bugs following QA testing. Are there ships with multiple power plants?
Yes,
No any?
I'm pretty sure.
Because even the C, um, even the C2 has one.
I'm pretty
Is
sure they
it
are.
specifically just bigger ships that bigger than the thing?
I could have sworn.
Um, let's see. The Saber's supposed to be redundant, right? Saber's supposed to have lots of redundancies.
That might
Saber, Saber,
also
Saber.
might not be it might not be necessarily
Overdrive.
ship related.
Yes, the Saber has two power plants.
Yeah.
I swear I remember two power plants. Yeah, so the Saber does have two power plants. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have two times the amount of power,
Mm-hmm.
which will give DPS calculator a run for its data. Because you can't just hey 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah, you also run into the issue of power transmission. You have power generation, but power transmission.
Mm-hmm. Basically, they're gauging the wires between power
Mm-hmm.
plants and
Yeah.
relays.
what your
All
actual
right.
throughput can be.
Right. Cool. July's work on radar and scanning continued throughout August, with the team reviewing it in Radar Commander, which is very strange. What are you scanning and radaring in there? And do we get an experimental mode, mostly? To assess the impact on the player experience and tune values to achieve the desired effect. Remember, scanning is supposed to be out till quantum travel range. So, very interesting.
And it's not on the
Awesome.
release view.
Interesting. Now, you remember when they said that it's supposed to be out of quantum travel range? That's Citizen, right?
I'd have to go back and hear the context, but I'll trust you.
Okay. Do you think they're shortening our overall quantum travel range? Because currently our quantum travel range, depending on the ship, is the entire stand-in system.
Yeah, I feel like there's probably some context that's missing there, especially with the whole quantum boost thing and such.
Mm-hmm. So there was an interesting sentence that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuck in my head from CitizenCon, specifically about scanning. Let's see. They also focused on closing out feature work for data or delta signatures. Basically, stuff can be seen and how to see them, giving design more control over how to react to changes. Tests were completed for audio signatures too. So scanning and signaling is nearing a pretty good place. I would not be shocked if it's in like a 4.1.
Yeah.
Core gameplay continued supporting transit in the run-up to the live release. And run-up to the live release, that's...
I could see radar and scanning and the quantum travel experience being part of 4.1 in December, and that's just a content patch on the same 4.0 branch. You know, a 316 is on the same branch as 315. It's just content. You know,
I mean, everything's a 4.0
three
branch currently, so...
324. Well,
Yeah.
4.0
I mean,
versus
I'm not
not
that
creating
hopeful.
a new dev branch, but
Yeah. No, I think it's possible. I'm not gonna put my eggs in that basket. I'm gonna say 4.1 is the first patch of the year for 25. We'll see who's right.
you don't think we're gonna get 4 whole numbered patches for the year?
What? Are we not at 3 already?
No. 323 was the Q1 patch. And we got 324. They're shooting for 4.0.
In
Right?
Q3. Oh. No, that's Q4. Because 4.0 is 4. 4.0 is Q4.
4.0
So
is
shouldn't be...
Q4. But what if we get a 4.1? That would also be in 4.0. Because 323 was in May, 324 in August, 4.0 Q4 whenever. But 322 was released in December.
1, 2, 3,
We would
4.
only have 3 whole number patches. That's what I'm saying. I think that they will do a 324, for 4.0.
I still don't see it. Like I understand. I see your math. I think it's
I'm just
reasonable.
saying, when was the last
Yeah.
time we didn't get 4 full numbered patches in a year?
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Last year we got 317 in April, 3 or sorry. Well, I guess it would have been 2022 or 2022 we only had the one. So that was the big drought. But last year we got 318, then 319, then 320,
And through 22.
then 321, then 322. I don't know.
I think if it's coming by the end of the year, it's gonna be in 4.0. Basically, is what I'm saying. I think if it's gonna be, it's not 3.1 if it's coming this year.
Oh, I'm saying I think that we will get another patch in December,
Yeah.
and they'll call it a 4.1 patch with some content, just like 316 was a 315
Well,
patch, but with content.
my 4.0.1 is IE. I don't think we're gonna get
Yep.
4.1.
You don't think we're gonna get a December patch?
No.
All right, we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be all supporting 4.0 because wherever 4.0 lands is gonna be it's take the win. Just take the win. Let them have their 2 week vacation that they're not gonna take because they're crazy and will come back for seconds and developing on their break as they should not be. Um, but I no, I think we're gonna get 4.0 sometime in Q4, and we're just gonna get 0 point patches. And why does this keep going off? Sorry, my keyboard keeps breaking. All right. So Transit live release. I assume that's the new transit system. Hopefully, while adjusting how transit data is stored to lower the maintenance overhead on level design. Think that's the transit rework for 4.0.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, the team reworked the shot annunciator. So basically, the thing that shows up at the top of the screen. It will turn red. Oh no, not that's shot annunciator is the arrow thing that shows up around the middle of the screen, telling you where a shot came from. There we go.
Mhm.
Annunciator is basically notifications, or hey, look at this from the UI. Um, will turn red if someone's target will turn red if someone targets the player and fires their weapon. Annunciator for weapon power, thruster, and shields were completed while overheating and off state were implemented. So those, yeah, the same spelling. Annunciators in that context is the UI stuff, basically lights on your dashboard saying if something's on or not. Very interesting that they're using the same stupid word for different pieces of the UI. Great. The ongoing mission system refactor progressed with the team fixing various issues causing existing behaviors to break or function incorrectly. The mission system now can run in minimal mode, allowing it to be included in the seeding service and upcoming mission factory service, which generates contracts. Appear that. Clients can now query available missions, and the contract generator can apply legacy settings to work with previous system too. Implementation of the service beacon for the mission system refactor began, while core gameplay supported mission design on remaining blockade runner and cargo hauling issues. Developers working on cargo gameplay primarily focus on major remaining stability and gameplay issues. For example, they fixed several problems with hangar instance queues getting stuck and players being assigned the wrong hangar. Functionality was also added to the instance interior manager to better support removing non-active hangar instances. Several hauling mission bugs were solved related to the warehouse manager and freight elevator kiosk interactions. Excuse me. Alongside issues with the kiosk transferring items on and off the loading platform. Bugs were also fixed related to the Hull C auto loading commodity transactions, and ship loading platforms getting broken by obstructions with the fixes set to be implemented in the near future. Finally, the core gameplay, or for core, finally for core gameplay, devs spend considerable time reviewing internal and external feedback to plan further improvements to the future releases in Alpha 3.24.
Ah, so like the item bank.
So, like the item bank.
Yeah, the item bank will return in the way that was intended.
With the new
Just
UI.
with the new UI, they just had to make it look how Space Tomato talked about in this video. Yeah, because I was using I played
search word
for a
back.
little bit today, and it is it's such a bad system to go up there and use the old UI and be in third person. It
Yep.
makes no sense. Like,
Yep.
you know.
Make it cyan easy. Done. Yep, that's it. That's the fix. You did it.
Yeah.
Go send your application in.
Yeah.
Go work on
Back
the
to
same DN.
me for another short one, and then on to you for another long one. Not nearly as long. The economy team spent the month getting closer to uniting all their work into a cohesive economy consisting of ships, items, missions, fuel, consumables, freelancing careers, and more. Progress was also made on the economy setup for Pyro.
Basically, what that means is we're almost at the baseline that they will then work off of for Star Sim.
Yep.
And something that is also needed, not necessarily as a prerequisite, but as a nice to have prerequisite for crafting. Because they need to know where to get materials and what materials make up a thing. And that's part of what the economy team has been doing. Is putting like material value on chips and items and things. Alrighty. Now I have both in here. I don't know if any of the squadron stuff is also in here. It probably is, so I'm probably gonna end up reading a little bit twice. So, Star Citizen, graphics, VFX programming, and planet tech. Alongside the ongoing stability and performance improvements for Vulkan, the graphics team improved bug debug tooling for long-term health of the dev experience. For global illumination, support was added for high-gloss specular reflections, which builds on previous rough specular work. And if you remember the talk from CitizenCon, there's specular, high gloss, and not emissive. Bounce? No. Is it emissive? I don't remember the third one, but there's 3 facets of GI that they're working on, and that's what they're going with. So they have the 2 first ones down. The team also added live updates to the GPU ray tracing acceleration structure and began working on improvements to transparent objects. Performance-wise, Global Illumination System now supports both temporal and spatial subsampling to accumulate the same visual result with fewer rays fired per frame. This is a very good thing.
Yeah.
Basically, that is how NVIDIA has made the ray tracing so much better than everyone else, is they are able to downclock the amount of rays and assume the in-between in a really good way.
Yeah, so you can get ray tracing without taking the performance hit.
Or at least not a big one.
Not as much. Yeah, not as much. Not as noticeable.
Even in Fortnite, like ray tracing turned on is not as good as not ray tracing as far as frames per seconds. Let's see. Ongoing tasks consist of asynchronous creation and additional types of destructible render objects, such as gas cloud chunks, to reduce frame time spikes on the CPU. For Planet Tech V5, the team focused on enhancing terrain performance through a compute shader-driven pipeline that caches material attributes to reduce redundant computations. There we go. Alongside this, the revamped material scattering system now supports physically based distribution. Yes, that is. I cannot tell you how amazing that's going to be. Not that you're going to recognize it, but when you're looking at like the topology of the terrain, and rocks are collected in crevices and sparse in the opposite of a crevice is. So on a large lumpy spot, there's fewer rocks, but in crevices, there's a lot more rocks and a lot more vegetation that spawns. This should also help. I believe that this was made mention specifically in a reply to River Tech, and how this kind of tech will help them make a lot more realistic river banks.
Yeah. Well, and like it says, this is how we get really, a dense jungle and forest. You this is how we get the Star Citizen version
Allowing for
of,
denser biomes as well. There we go. Yeah.
yeah. Oh gosh, this is how we get Endor in Star Citizen.
Yep. We do we have a jungle? Where's the closest jungle? Because they're gonna probably want to
There's a
do something
couple.
more jungle-y.
The Oso,
Oh
the
yeah.
planet that the has the Osoians. That one's
Mm-hmm.
jungle like or has jungle like biomes. And then Kellogg. Um, yeah,
What is the terrain on Castra other than mountains?
they didn't really talk about that much.
Okay.
Well, there are other cities, below the cloud layer, and the cloud layer isn't permanent. It's just mostly permanent.
Mm.
Um, or covers a lot frequently, but we don't know in terms of like biomes and stuff. We know a lot about Cascom or Sherman, but not as much about the rest of Cascom.
All right. So interesting things, probably good to talk about at SysCon. I would love
Hmm.
to see another like update on where this Planetech V5 and these denser things and stuff are.
Oh yeah, I would
Let's
be willing
see.
to put money on it, especially
Yep.
because it's a very key aspect of the road to 1.0.
And it's flashy,
Yeah,
which is nice.
yeah, it looks cool. Lots of pretty pictures.
Yep. Such as jungles, forests, by eliminating distinctions between small and large, or yeah, by eliminating distinctions between small and large, large, small and large mesh ground cover, blah, blah, blah. Uh, or by eliminating. All right. A new per object climate concept and new terrain attributes were introduced, including geology and soil maps. Why are we gonna need soil maps? Any thoughts on why we're gonna need to know what's in the ground?
Ground-based mining, terrain deformation.
And science.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going for the outpost mining mainly. Corn. I mean, yeah, I guess.
Space
If that's
Iowa.
if that. Oh god, that's great. Space Iowa. We should have a space Iowa and a space Idaho. That needs to be a thing.
Yeah,
Absolutely needs to be a thing.
where are
Where are
my
my space potatoes?
space potatoes? Yep.
Oh man, it all comes back to corn.
Hmm. I bet the Banu love potatoes.
Oh my gosh. Not the Banu trees. Do they eat? Do they
Yeah, they
eat
eat.
substances or do they eat like
They're like goats. They eat everything.
minerals? They eat everything? Oh,
Yep.
eh. So not really tree-like, just kind of
Yeah.
tree in face.
Hmm.
All right. Let's see. Planet Tech also spent part of August supporting the Montreal team on the location scatter tool for this. Or for this, they provided a new terrain query API for large scale queries and extended query capabilities, with future tasks aimed at supporting SDF based queries. I imagine that's for scanning and mapping or
Mm,
something, because
I don't know.
SDF is like what we
But
have
it's a
for shield, so it's
location
able
scatter
to.
tool. It's able to read over terrain, and so it's
Why do you need to
probably a
know
new.
the height of the terrain?
It well, not necessarily the height, but to moving. The changes in order to, if it's
So
for
sight
location.
distance field at its core is basically a grid that goes across, or well, not well, a grid that wraps around
A
a
surface.
mesh, and
Hmm.
then can calculate a distance away from that mesh.
Hmm.
That is what its main focus is. It's calculating distance around a mesh. Not around it, but from it around the entire thing. Why would they need to know distance from terrain?
It's a terrain query API for large-scale queries, but it's for location scatter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Location scatter, does that mean location as in like points of interest locations?
I think so.
And dynamic generation of those?
I think so as well, because I think currently the location scour tool, at least last time I heard about it, um, was used as a um, recommendation
Mm-hmm.
to put around, and then it'd say, "Hey, I think
Yeah,
the thing should be here."
this looks like a good spot. Yeah, based off
Mm-hmm.
of the terrain. Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll see.
And why assign distance fields? I want to know. Support for the live producing code fixes for the invisible asteroid bug, which I found. That was fun. I wasn't the pilot while we found it, so that was so fun. We both exploded at the same time. I swear I hit the wrong button. It wasn't me. It was an asteroid that we didn't see. And other issues. Following on from last month's report, the VFX team focused on the fire hazard feature work is now no, focus on the fire hazard. The feature work is now complete, with focus on shifting to bug fixing and design balance. I wonder where it's not committed yet. Particle effect connections for jump tunnels were implemented. The devs are now focusing on polish the VFX and supporting graphic technology. The team also progressed with significant data conversion to add GUIDs, very nice, which will help the VFX artists manage particles more efficiently. More efficiently. Elsewhere, performance improvements are underway, including using multiple threads for particle updates and adjusting VFX regeneration. Uh, nope. Registration tests to detect issues earlier. GUIDs, I believe. I think Unreal uses something similar to GUIDs. I think it's like UUID. Yeah, it's UUID. So, hopefully, like the more improvements they make, the more closer to Unreal they make it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if only they could port over Nanite. Um, nope. Squadron 42 side, alongside ongoing stability and performance improvements, Vulcan. We already talked about that. Debugging tools, long term, Westport.
I think that's everything.
Async CPUs. Squadron
Oh,
42's main fire hazard system wrapped, with the team focusing on bug fixes and bounces. Nearly finished with the data conversion for better particle effective management. It's slightly
yeah.
different worded, but yeah. So, engine team is engine team. Engine team does base stuff that applies to both games. Back to you with a single sentence from the Interactables team.
The Interactables team spent time in August on items for Pyro mission content.
Thank you, Tree.
Back to you for lighting. A slightly longer single sentence.
It is still a single sentence, yes. There's only commas. The lighting team continued to support multiple areas of development, including pyro space stations, acidic caves, and closed out work for Alpha 324. Back to you for locations, which is more than one sentence.
Cool
Still
images.
only Star Citizen.
Yeah. Locations. Last month, the landing zone team progressed with tasks for Alpha 4.0, including adding new areas and additional polish to Pyro space stations. The locations team pressed forward with ground bases, moving the initial modules through gray box. Ground bases. Like
Okay. New name.
ours? Like
I think that's
player bases?
not ground bases. I think ground bases is more like a military structure or um like an archetype of outpost.
Okay. Moving the initial modules through gray box. Improvements were also made to several new location types coming with Pyro. Several new location types. Oh boy.
Well, they outlined a couple being the salvage yard,
Yeah.
trade post. Now they are archetypes or types, not just this one has a trade console, this one doesn't. Or what are they called? Aid shelters, data centers, stuff like that.
Yeah. Back to you for mission design. Whoa,
Part of the
gosh.
crew. Part of the ship.
Mission design. Oh, I gotta
Part of the
fall.
crew. Part of the ship. Part of the crew.
Part of the crew,
Part
part of the ship.
Part of the crew. Part of the ship.
Thank you for the follow, Midgard. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming and hanging out. We are almost done for the evening.
Midgards. That's how you say it. Okay, I could not. I think they dropped into my stream yesterday. Not yesterday.
Aha.
When I was doing the last test, was it yesterday or was it the day before? Don't remember. Oh no, I just scrolled all the way up to the top. And I had no idea how to pronounce that name. Mission design. Mission design spent time in August updating the salvage mission archetype, enabling it to spawn ground panels. Oh. And provide FPS gameplay at scrapyards. Oh yeah, because you can. Yeah, please make the
at
thing.
ISC.
Yeah, please make the industrial salvage tool a thing. Like, please.
Two-handed tools are the best.
Yeah, they are. They also continued work for the repair location missions recently shown on the social gameplay of Pyro episode of Inside Star Citizen. The team is targeting 3 main gameplay elements for the initial release: charge and drain, charging devices that use batteries for operation, replace component, replacing fuses in relays, repair pipe, fixing damaged pipes using RMC. That
Plumber
kind of
gameplay.
gameplay was.
We are
You know,
plumbers.
the last one was shown off in the FPS mapping and UI thing when they had the radiation leak on Orison. That's the system we'll be using. I really like the idea of these repair missions. I don't know why.
Yeah.
They just, like, I just want to do them.
Yep.
Like it's gonna be I think I'll try and find repair missions at places I'm doing cargo, so I can come bring cargo and repair their crap.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just really like the idea of these missions. The team also continued to design resource gathering, another mission type I'm really excited for, including determining which commodity buyers in Stanton would want extracted from Pyro. They also expanded the mechanic to include FPS resource gathering, which will be the first step towards basic MMO type fetch quests. Elsewhere, a new mission type progressed that the team will discuss in a future update.
Ooh.
I love all this mission talk. Resource gathering is just such a cool concept. Not only are they specifically looking at making extraction from Pyro to Stanton, but also when you have a outpost, when you have a player base, these are also going to be things you tap into. It's not, you can do more than just like trading it now, have a whole bunch of material and hope somebody buys it at a good rate, but you can also find what people want and produce that thing. So,
narrative for PU. The narrative team spent time last month working with design and branding to further develop the new contested zones and enhance the gameplay that players will experience there. The team also made improvements to the cargo hauling missions and continued work on unannounced mission content that will be coming to Stanton and Pyro. See, unannounced mission content coming to Stanton and Pyro. We are getting a couple features and new missions and a ship. And like some character art stuff for 4.1 in December. Calling it. The narrative design team focused on improving AI behaviors at settlements to give a more natural feel to the NPCs that players will encounter there. They also fleshed out the new social AI testbed. New lore was added to the website with a Whitley's Guide to the Cutlass Red and additional Galactopedia entries. Plus, there was a very special Star Citizen live with the narrative team. I'm hoping I'll be able to make time to get back to doing lore equals gameplay. I'm a couple months behind. And for narrative on the Squadron side, toward the end of the summer, narrative continued work with core gameplay to refine the number of Galactopedia entries and to identify where they will unlock. That's my core gameplay. It is unlocking the lore. Ooh,
like,
data pad.
have the data marker, like, not the data marker, but the mission marker. It's like, I'll get to that later. In the meanwhile, is there any lore over here under this rock?
Oh yeah, That's me playing Star Wars Outlaws as I literally explore every freaking inch of an environment before I leave to make sure I found all the little hidden things. I am for games like Star Wars Outlaws, Assassin's Creed, open world type games, anything that like that. I am a completionist 100%, and it's my toxic trait.
Mm.
I
I
have so many
have
hours in Outlaws that I should be so much farther along in the campaign right now than I am.
that's how I was
But
with Starfield. Just like I'm like 50 hours in and I haven't made it back to the lodge. People are like, look at my OP ship I made like 25 hours in. Like, what am I doing?
but look at all the
Why?
fun things that I found.
But people were just like at the end game already. I'm like, I'm 50. I'm like 20 hours ahead of you,
Hmm.
like in time. How am I feel like I'm nowhere near that kind of like power level? But I have three so far runs planned for Squadron when it comes out. The first one is narrative run, and I'm going to be running it as if like trying to role play the Navy character. So I'm not going to be doing all the not like all of the side content. It's going to be focused on your job. Sure, you have a little leeway, you have a little bit off time. Maybe something like catches your eye while you're going, and so you go do whatever side thing, a terminal or something that lights up, but don't like look at every screen in the thing, look up every rock, go through every dead end. The second one is the forget your job. You're here to like pick the environment, kind of like you play normally. And then the third one is more of a uh, experimental, whether that be like a genocide run or a peaceful run or some extra rules in the game.
Hmm. In Outlaws, there's treasure locations and there's treasures to be found at each location, and so like I it is an itch for me right now. It, like gives me a tick because I know that there are treasures that I can't get to because I haven't progressed far enough in the campaign at certain locations.
Hate
So I'm gonna have to
that.
go back. I'm gonna have to go back to this location once I get far enough, along and get access to a certain tool to then be able to get
So
access to it. But
I don't
I
know
hack all the
how.
doors, I open all the things, I pick up all the stuff, like all the common materials that you use for upgrading your stuff. I have gobs of them because I pick
I
up
don't know how
all of them.
dense the environments or how lively the environments are in Outlaw, but in Survivor, Jedi Survivor, they were really good going through the first time. Like they were very different than each other. They had just enough to kind of like make it feel okay, but it's still very much a platformer.
Hmm.
And so when they forced you to return later, they felt so dead. And that kind of an experience really makes me have a distaste for, oh, you'll have to come back later kind of gotcha
Hmm.
puzzles. uh
See, in these
even
locations,
in Little Big Planet, like my favorite game franchise of all time, Little Big Planet, did it in the third one, which was not by the original people and was done by a company that was much better at making safe games. um Shockingly enough, they didn't have a creator with the game either. Not the point. I still didn't like it. I still didn't like them forcing you to have to play through an entire level and not be able to get the full level out of it. Don't like it.
yep.
Because they're levels. They're not. It's not like an open world thing where stuff is just waiting for you to find it, and you can just kind of run around and miss it. It
The
is
good
a level.
thing,
It is a finite amount of location.
the good thing is once you find the treasure location that you can't open because you don't have this tool, it does notate it on the map, so you don't have to like remember it in your head.
Mm.
And so at least there's that. But I've got a bunch of these icons on my map cluttering up my map saying, hey, you have to return here, hey, you have to return here, because instead of continuing on to the mission location as I was crossing the map, I saw a thing and I was like, well, I have to go see what that is now, a detour. And so I went to all these locations that I probably will be going to for missions later, and maybe not necessarily campaign, the main quest missions, but side quest missions. but I was going to them before I had the side quest, you know, and because like I've gotten good at sneaking around with my loath cat or my klepto cat, I was able to move through and clear these locations, but only like I got 3 out of 4 treasures, not 4 out of 4 because this one's stuck behind a wall that I can't blow up, whatever. Sorry, back to Squadron 42. The team also moved back to live production with pickup shooting, which involved re-recording a handful of lines for a supporting character. Narrative also supported the audio department in a Walla session. If you haven't heard this term before, Walla is a low, persistent series of indecipherable conversations that go alongside our scripted scenes and dynamic conversations to make areas feel more populated. The Walla, back to Star Wars Outlaws. The Walla in Star Wars Outlaws is really good because you'll be walking along hearing the Walla and it'll be in Huttese, but then you'll have the closed captioning at the bottom translating it for you.
Oh, nice.
And they don't even have to be. There are conversations that if you stop and listen to them, it'll give you a prompt to like pretend you're not listening and you'll lean up against the bar here, or you'll pretend to look at like this stall here in the market while you gather this information, and then that will give you either like a side quest or a thing on the map, or will give you more info related to a side quest that you'll get later. But
neat.
Even the Walla is actually just conversations, and they translate the Huttese, and what have you, which I think is really cool because it's like it sounds like gibberish, but it's not, because they're actually talking about stuff, but it's not relevant to your any of the missions or finding a downed smuggler ship or a rebel cache of weapons. They have
not
those
spelled the
but
same
the Walla,
way.
What?
The planet, the moon Walla.
Oh yeah, 1L versus 2.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, work continued on the in-fiction collectibles that the team is developing with outsourced artists. Yep, gotta catch them all. They also continue to regularly play through levels to review the implementation of the latest content to ensure things are triggering correctly and iterate on the overall flow. Back to you for online tech.
Yep. And then you get the last one after that of VFX.
Yep.
Online technologies, Star Citizen. In August, the online services team, it says services and tools team, progressed with features scheduled for Alpha 4.0. Significant progress was made on the update for the mission and marker system. The team, completed the new player trade system, which will allow players to trade currencies in a server meshed environment. Time was also spent testing and gathering metrics for newly enabled EAC anti-cheat feature in Evocati, and the PTU alongside helping to stabilize the 3.24 release. Online services help player relations unblock accounts with lingering login issues. Regarding live tools, the team met with player support and player experience during a visit to Montreal Studios. It was a great opportunity for both teams to sit together and work on the future of Network Operations Center and how it could improve the quality of life for the support teams and its current and upcoming features. Live tools team. Elsewhere, in the architecture for the error reporting tool was progressed well.
VFX. The VFX team, and this is for Star Citizen, the VFX team continued their support for jump points and dynamic fire, both of which were shown in recent episodes of Inside Star Citizen. They also completed their work on acidic caves, 2 vehicles, and an unnamed energy weapon that has functionality not seen before in the PU. Interesting. Wonder what that'll end up being. VFX for Squadron. Last month, VFX polished and focused on polishing a selection of key scenes alongside cinematics. They also continue to support the design and art teams with ongoing level work. And that is it.
Yeah, Squadron's happening next year for sure.
Yep. That is it for the combined Star Citizen and Squadron 42 monthly reports for August 2024.
Along with the Roadmap Roundup and SCL about submission with Benoit and some ETF inside information.